McDonald's in the desert, where the PCT or a trailhead of PCT is, and I plan to hike. I don't know, 3 or 4 days. The temperature's not supposed to be much worse than Tulsa is, where I'm from. I think it's going to get up to 79, 80, but it'll get down to 35. So, got some cool weather clothing as well as some warm weather clothing. I've never hiked in the desert, so I'm debating about getting an umbrella, but I don't really think it's hot enough for an umbrella, a shade umbrella. That's what a lot of the people do in the summertime when they're hiking in the desert. Kind of keeps your whole body warm or cooler. I don't think I'll get an umbrella, but I may stop and get a wide-brimmed hat. All right, so a little update. My train didn't get into LAX in the Union Station until about 11:30, so it's kind of late in the day. I decided to forgo the hike this morning and head over to my buddy Matt Carver's house. So I am on the way to San Luis Obispo, taking a little detour here, but we actually have a little hike planned tonight. He gets off at 5, so at 6 o'clock we're gonna do a 2-3 hour hike, or probably more like 2 hours, because he said you can't hike where we're going in the dark. So a little short trip up to see my buddy, kind of pick his brain. He's got the same interests as me: camera work, design, digital design, drones, backpacking, travel. So really looking forward to it. I'm going too slow. I'm going to San Luis Obispo. Man, what a beautiful, beautiful drive it is from LA to where my buddy Matt lives. He's really a son of a bitch, you know. Really can't stand this guy. He packed up and left Tulsa and left all of us behind while he moved out to this beautiful, beautiful part of the country. Son of a bastard. I have to give him hell here in about an hour when I see him.
Kind of like Devil's Tower in Wyoming.
And so they usually ignore the last two and they just call it the Seven Sisters.
Okay. Those poor two red-headed stepsisters that get ignored.
Seven Sisters.
Okay.
Oh, the Seven Sisters. I thought it was 9.
She said the other two they ignore.
Seven Sisters is the brewery.
Yeah, because it's the Seven Sisters.
But also there's
That makes sense.
there's a constellation called that. So it's for sure not named after that.
So this one's...
I see like a dirt road going up on that one. All right, so I just saw 2 pieces of good news. I got into the McDonald's here at the trailhead that I'm starting at. I think it's mile 340. And I timed it pretty good. Saw about 6 hikers in there. Talked to a few of them. They said they think they're kind of mid-pack or mid-herd. So I'll definitely have some company out there. They said this is a dry section coming up that I'm starting on. So I'll probably take about 4 liters, which is a lot for me, but probably not a lot for this trail. The other good news is there's some pretty good overcast, and we might even get a little bit of rain, which would be freaking awesome. So I've got my, so we're at a McDonald's and a gas station back here. The trail is up in those mountains, the trailhead. So I'm gonna try to find a safe place to park my car, put on my gaiters, probably strip down the shorts, and maybe a little sunscreen. I don't get burned that easy, but you know, this is kind of different, being exposed all day long. So still a little bit nervous, but feeling better. We'll check in when I get to the trailhead. All right, it's time to do this. First steps, Pacific Crest Trail. Oh, I don't know what day it is today. Today's Thursday, and it's 12:39, and here we go. All right, not a good start. Spent the first about 5 minutes walking south. I should be walking north. So anyways, we're gonna try this again. All right, the time is now 12:57, heading northbound this time. Through the deep dark tunnel we go. Just beautiful plants that you see around here. How cool is that flower gonna be? All right, so I don't know if you can read this, but this is a word. It's P-O-O-D-L-E. And then there's an arrow right here, which is pointing to this plant right here. That's called poodle bush, poodle dog bush, or something like that. It is nasty stuff, just like poison oak, but can be even worse. Some people have to go to the hospital. I'm actually wearing shorts, but I've been real careful today to avoid it. It's real prevalent in areas that have been burned out, and yeah, nasty stuff. You definitely don't want to be brushing up against that or getting it on your trekking poles and then touching your trekking poles. So this is what they call a water cache, and someone's maintaining this. So this is not an official water spot, even though it is kind of official, I guess. It's not on the maps, at least not the ones that I'm looking at. Trail rats, Swarthout Canyon, John Dave Steve. This is kind of telling you about the town, the next town that's coming up. But check this out. Right in the middle of the desert, you've got 1, 2, 3 shelves with water. So a lot of these are empty, but the ones in the back are full. There's a full one. So I am going to what's called camel up here. Just drink a whole bunch. My water bottles are still full, so I don't have to fill anything. But yeah, so pretty cool water cache. So I think this is a water source. There's been 2 water sources at the base of this mountain. Wow, not much. Little spring, little trickle. Anyways, so I'm in a valley right now. We're climbing these sumbitches right now. We're getting ready to. I think it's 4,700 feet to the top. So I don't know if I'll do it all today, but we'll check in a little bit later. Okay, so a little update. Coming down with the flu. Kind of felt it on the bus ride to Galena. I'm sorry, kind of felt it on my drive to Galena, Kansas. So it's been a rough start, just because I had a 3-hour drive to Galena, Kansas, and then it turned out to be almost a 36-hour train ride into LAX. And then immediately I got a rental car and drove 3 hours to San Luis Obispo to visit my buddy Matt. And as soon as I got to San Luis Obispo, Matt and I and 2 other girls went on a short little 3-hour hike up to Irish Hill next to Matt's house. Got probably 3 hours worth of sleep, and then the next day I drove 3.5 hours back to the trailhead, immediately started hiking, and I felt a little bit bad during the beginning of the hike, and it's just kind of slowly coming on. I never get the flu, but I'm getting it. It won't stop the hike. I actually slept pretty good last night, but I think I did 12 miles. There's my tent, and so I hiked up from the trail just because there's absolutely no place to pitch a tent, and the first campsite that had like a flat area was still 6 miles away, and I probably wouldn't make it before dark. So I hiked up about just 30 yards up a steep little embankment to this dirt road, and pitched my tent kind of in the shoulder of this dirt road. Well, at about 9:45 last night, I was actually asleep, and I hear this truck come barreling down this road, and I was a little bit worried about that while I was setting on my tent. It's kind of around a curve, and anyways, this truck came by probably like 45 miles an hour, which is fast on this road. It scared me to death that he was going to hit me, but he didn't. And I woke up and I was treated to this glorious sunrise. I'll fix the exposure there a little bit, but it was really windy last night. I was kind of afraid that my tent would not make it. I broke 2 tent stakes last night. I broke the little hooks off of the top, pounding them into the rocks. But yeah, it held up, and I'm pretty excited for the day. I'm gonna take it a little bit slower just because I do feel pretty sick. I'll pop a couple of Tylenol. I also found out that I didn't pack my my long johns, my sleeping pants. They're really more running pants than long johns, but I was fine. I was warm in the sleeping bag, even with the wind and the cold. I don't know the temperatures. It actually feels like it warmed up a little bit this morning. It might be 50 degrees with a slight wind. Anyways, we'll pack up and get to hiking.